Hi there. I've been sent a few requests with regard to shapefiles and how they're actually, what they actually consist of, and what you might email to someone. What's the sort of minimum components? Because obviously, as I'm sure you may be aware, shapefile is actually more than one sort of file type. So I was just going to clarify what the file types are and what they're for. So you can see what's actually going on in the background. So here I'm actually in ArcGIS Pro. This is 2.4, and this is a blank template. So I'll just bring up a new map, and eventually we get there. So let's get to the UK somewhere. So what I'm going to do is sort of go from scratch here, so you can see all the different files being built up. So here's my folder where I'm going to put the create the shapefile, my example. So you can see it's totally empty. There's nothing in this folder. So I'll use the toolbox to create shapefile and do this work. So in analysis, I'll just click on tools and bring up the toolbox. So what I'm going to do is create a new shapefile. So I'll just type shapefile. So there's a little demonstration here as well about using the tools and finding the toolbox, etc. So as you can see, it's create feature class. That's actually what I want to do. It's obviously a bit slower on these tools than the old arc map. That's the way they've created them, but never mind. So I'm putting everything in there. I'll call it my new. I'll just call it new shape file. Let's just make it to store points. There's other information here, not too fussed, and I will set the coordinate system. I think I got some favourites here. There we go, British National Grid. So it's got a coordinate system there, and I press run. So what happens here? So this folder is now populated. It's actually populated with quite a few bits and pieces, as you can see. So what's going on here? Well, shapefiles anyway, as I'm sure you're aware, they're a vector format. So as you saw, I'm pointing out that I'm storing points here in this shapefile. So it's a vector format. It's developed, effectively regulated by Esri, and lots of other GIS clients, QGIS open source, GeoServer, MapServer. MapInfo will read a shapefile when you can sort of cache the objects and stuff like that. So it's a pretty sort of open one. Lots of people, lots of software use it. SHP there's your sort of main file, shall we say, but you need more than that to draw, to open. Not to be confused, there is an SHP extension. I think it's for AutoCAD, and it's to do with the font source. So not to be confused with that. So there is another .shp, is my point. So the actual main file that stores the feature geometry is in this .shp, and you can see it's just 1K. There's nothing in there. It's empty, and that's it. Now the SHX file. Now that's the sort of index of the feature geometry, so that's also required. So those two are definitely there so far, the ones required. So what else is going on? Well, the DBF. So the DBF there. So that's the database. Literally, it's sort of a database format. I think it's DBase 4, was it, or something like that. But anyway, and so that's where you have your attributes, and the data, the attributes, all those values are stored in the DBF. So again, there's no data in there at the moment. So I've just got, it's just 1K, and you can see the icon here. It's a sort of almost spreadsheet spreadsheet-like tabular. It's a database file. So what else is in there? Well, we have a PRJ, and we can have a quick look at that. Let's open that. with, actually let's open just with Notepad. And you can see how the projection is defined. So it's British National Grid, that's the name of it in the ArcGIS Pro, well, name of it generally, and all the various bits of information. There's lots of YouTube videos on projections, coordinate systems, transformations, all that sort of thing, central meridians, etc. There's plenty of other videos on that, but you can see it stores it there in the PRJ file. The other file you can see at the top here is CPG. So that's an optional file, and indeed a PRJ you could create yourself in the GIS client. So PRJ is not strictly necessary, but it's highly recommended you deliver a PRJ, a projection file with your data. But the CPG, so that's the optional file. It's all about the code page. So it identifies the character set, so UTF-8 in my case, you know, the sort of main generic, contains ASCII characters, all that sort of thing for the internet. So you'd really have that for your DBF, you know, how the characters are going to be drawn, how do they appear. So again, if I just open up this, let's do an open with a CPJ. I'll just do, actually I've got Notepad++, I should just use that really, it doesn't matter. So it just says UTF-8. So it's optional. It'll just, you know, if you load it on your computer without CPG, it would just use what your local character set is in Windows or what have you. That's what the DBF will do. So a couple of other things going on. There's an XML with some additional information for ArcGIS. Definitely not necessary. It's just for the Esri software. There's a couple of lock files there, i.e. I've got it open in my client software. So the lock files, yeah, that's all they are. They're just saying, look, I'm working on this, it is locked, and so no one else can edit it. So again, not necessary. So what would you email to someone? As a minimum, I would email 1, 2, 3, those 4 files. If I knew that I had some very particular character sets going on in the DBF, I might also send someone the CPG. So and also if again as a sort of useful thing, this XML, let's have a look at it just so you you know, if you know they're going to a an Esri product, you can just pick up a bit of metadata there, you see. So it just tells you the sort of process used when it's created, that sort of thing. So it's definitely optional. So you might send that, but like I said, the main things that you would send are those 4. That's what you'd email. So just to continue with this, what happens when you do other bits of work, shall we say? Okay, so what I'll do is I'll just alter what's going on in this folder by indexing some attributes. So I'll just show you what I mean. I'm going to create some other files in this folder. This is a sort of extension to the whole shapefile thing. So in here, let us actually field, add field, drag it across. See, I can just drag from the contents over to the toolbox, just in case you didn't know that. So input new field. So let's say it's a what are these? Are points? Maybe it's to map trees. You know, tree codes or something. And there's a text of 10, I don't know, that we fill in. So I'm adding a field, tree codes, to my new shapefile. So let's run it. Happens very quickly, obviously. Little report there that pops up. If you look in here, no change really that you can see, obviously, apart from a timer, time change. But let's just go to Shapefile, open attribute table, and there's my column tree codes. Actually, what was that? Name of that film. Okay, that's just in case I was to run it again. That's all. I just wondered what that warning was. Okay, so I just added a field. What about if I create an index? Okay, so I'm going to add an attribute index on Shapefile. What's going to happen in here, in this list of files? Fields to index, tree codes. Run. Have a look, and look what has happened here. We've got this ATX file. So the ATX files is the attribute index. So if I was to create another attribute, should be in history, add field, input table, field name, new field. It's just let's make it a date. Don't know why I'm spending so long choosing. Could be anything. So I'm going to add this. Actually, might use that later on in another tutorial. New field is short. Press run. Okay, and then go back, and then add attribute index. It's the same thing. Actually, I'm dragging it across, but I could actually select from the drop down there. I don't know why. You can easily do that. New field, index it. It's probably not a wise thing to index a shot, but there you go. And then if you look here, look what's happened. We've got another ATX. So you see how, so you get an ATX per attribute index. That's fair enough, but what about the spatial index? Add spatial index. Select the layer, new shapefile. Press run. Let's have a look. And there you go. We've got SBN and SBX. These two at the top here, SBN and SBX. So they are your spatial indexes. So now those are two things. It's obviously binary data. It's really only used by Esri software, but it's not strictly necessary, because if you could create the index anyway later. For example, it happens when you upload to ArcGIS Online, or you can just create a spatial index anyway. But I mean, the SHP file anyway does create an index for the geometry, and this is additional spatial indexing information. So you wouldn't have to, like I said, this is about emailing the data to someone. You wouldn't need these two, and in order to open the shapefile into ArcGIS, and you could and they could create it anyway at will. So that's the end. Hope that was useful to you. You can see these lock files there. Let's just exit. And now the lock files are gone because I've closed ArcGIS Pro. Anyway, I hope you find that useful. Thank you.